Hey YouTube, you have made your way to Mind Your Mind with Just Justified. Now, this space is about going deeper, dissecting information, accountability, looking at things from other views, and, just kind of minding our mind and, going deeper. So, with this mindfulness, y'all saw the thumbnail. Now, we've seen this story all around. We've seen it, right? So, now I just want to kind of point out some viewpoints that I came across with this story because, from what I gather, there are mixed reviews around YouTube about this situation, around other streaming methods like TikTok and everything. There's so many different views. So many people are looking at it from different ways. They think that this man right here being fired basically was overboard, and then some people actually agree with him being fired, and there are various reasons why. So I'm going to give my viewpoints in this video because I know that we can all come from different areas of life, different experiences, everything. So we view things differently. So please, while I respect your way of looking at it, I'm going to share my way of how I look at this whole situation. So this man right here, his name is Marquise White. He is a science teacher at Maya Angelou French Immersion School. He was, because he actually got fired. And this school is located in Hillcrest, Maryland. He was fired after the video, which is also shown in the caption. After that video, basically was on social media and people reacted to it, and he got backlash for it. So inevitably he ended up getting fired. As you can see in the picture, there are young ladies taking out his braids in the classroom. Now, as I said, there are so many different views about this. Some people says it's nothing sexual about it. We're trying to always sexualize things and all. So I look at it as this. It is still an intimate space. And, I was on a panel this past Tuesday, Grown Women Talking. Really great panel. We actually talked about this subject on there. And what I say, that my phrase, what muddies the water, is that there are people that passed those boundaries, and that messed it up. Even if he had good intentions, him passing the boundary of allowing them into his personal space, that is kind of where is an issue for me a little bit. I experienced this growing up when I was around the age of 8, of a substitute teacher at the school that I attended, kind of, well, passing the boundaries. And he did this in front of a lot of people, because some people would say, oh, he's in front of a whole class, he wouldn't do anything out of pocket. But he passed boundaries even in front of people. So as I said, when we even talk about words like even grooming, I know sometimes when we say these words, people are like, oh, you're making too much out of it. But when you talk about grooming, it happens. And even though he may have good intentions, there are some people that may use those same tactics to get a little bit closer, to get it comfortable for the youth to be in their personal space, and make it and cover it all as good intentions. The word grooming means the practice of preparing or training someone for a particular purpose or activity. So, some people may not even know that they're being groomed half the time. But to allow people into your personal space, as I said, I do not think that that may have been his issue. It may not have been. I don't know him. But that's the whole point. I don't know him. So I don't know what his true intentions are. And because there is that gray area, we have to consider if it's appropriate or not. So real quick, I have a clip from the Grown Women Talking panel that I was on Tuesday at 9. Sometimes it's like warning labels. Warning labels on things is because some stupid person tried it. So they had to put a warning label to avoid other people from trying it. So some stupid person passed the boundaries with children on their job, and now there are warning labels. So we have to have a professionalism. So as you can see, I said on that panel, and I still stand 10 toes down on that. There are warning labels on products because there is someone who tried whatever they're warning you against. They've tried it, and they're trying to cover their behind from a lawsuit, you know? So now when we think about teachers and knowing that there are so many cases of misconduct with teachers and other faculties, other, you know, parts of the school, there are misconducts that take place. Sorry. We have to consider those things and not take it lightly. Yes, you know, you don't want to go there, but the world that we live in is a reality that we have to kind of go there for our children's safety, because sometimes, you know, precautionary action is better than, you know, reactions, where, you know, if something happened, then you got to kind of deal with what happened. So, you know, that was one thing that I considered, and I weighed into this whole thing. It's not professionalism, you know, it's not there. And I understand he came out with so many other different things, as in some, like even when he painted nails in other videos, he's talking about that's the profession that child wants to go to. But, you know, we're connecting with these children, and I get that. There are so many ways to reach out with that child while staying in a professional setting. You can do a whole fundraising type spa setup and have the children kind of, you know, do that in a way where it's set properly. But when you're talking about an authority figure coming into your personal space, you have to kind of weigh that cautiously. So there's another clip that I saw about this guy, and he came out with a good viewpoint about it. Let me know what you think about it.
Wrong questions about the teacher was reportedly fired for having a group of girls take down his braids in class. We're watching this video and we're asking, are his intentions pure and is this too intimate? But those are the wrong questions to ask, because we can only answer them after somebody's been harmed. The questions we need to be asking are, what is being normalized by this interaction, and what feelings might this interaction be causing in a child? As a youth development professional, your intentions are irrelevant when you realize your job is to model behavior that can and should be replicated by other people in your position. So what is being normalized by this interaction is being live streamed, physical touch and proximity. And it's being normalized not only for the young people, but for everybody watching. And that's important. At best.
Now, and you remember what he said. So that's being normalized when we let these things pass. So even though that particular teacher may not have been an issue, now imagine the teacher that wants to actually groom the children. Now it's being normalized across the platforms. People are saying, nah, there's nothing wrong with that. Come on now, y'all being extra. And that teacher now will kind of slip through the cracks because it's being normalized. Y'all judging me. Why y'all doing that? Look, I don't mean anything by it. You know, all of that. So we have to consider this stuff.
Best, this interaction creates a foundation for something called transference. Transference is when feelings and desires get projected from one person to another based on past relationships and unmet needs. Transference can create feelings for a kid that are inappropriate and unproductive for a teacher-student relationship. So a young person who has unmet needs for affection, attention, and validation might project feelings of admiration onto an adult who just introduced physical touch into their relationship. That in and of itself makes a young person more vulnerable to harm when those inappropriate expectations aren't met. if those inappropriate expectations are met, or if they take those same boundaries into relationships with other adults. Inviting physical touch into a teacher-student relationship creates fertile ground for grooming. That's the process a predator uses to build trust and emotional connection with a young person they intend to manipulate, exploit, or harm. They might use attention, affection, guidance, and special treatment to fill an emotional need from a kid's life. Then they'll desensitize a young person to physical touch and sexual topics, starting small and building up. All the while, they're testing their boundaries to see how far they can push before a young person resists or someone speaks up. The entire time, there's plausible deniability. The point is to slowly push the boundaries and make everybody involved question whether or not their suspicions are warranted. The kid, the parents, the people around the kid. So if something doesn't feel right, but you just can't put your finger on why, or it doesn't seem like a big deal, if it seems like a gray area but just not big enough to speak up about, that's the point. Making people question their own instincts means the victim and the audience are groomed or prepared for the next step. So how can you tell the difference between someone who's unknowingly creating the conditions where transference might occur and someone who is grooming a young person and the people around them for abuse? You can't. If you could, kids would be a lot safer. There are people who will say that this sort of interaction is necessary to build culturally responsive relationships in school. It's not. Cultural relevance and appropriateness come from the respect that teachers have for young people, the content they present, and the way they present that content in culturally responsive ways. There are 100 activities this teacher could have used to engage his entire class in culturally relevant bonding instead of having a handful of girls take down his braids. It would have been more effective, more inclusive, and help build their bonds toward one another in ways that are going to benefit their classroom. He had an appointment to make, so he put his needs first. So in this video, I see a teacher normalizing the idea that his students will provide care for him using physical touch. It provides no benefit to the student-teacher relationship that couldn't be achieved in more effective ways. And if we let it slide, it provides a much wider gray area for people who intend to harm kids. Couple that with the fact that he has another video where he answers the students' questions about whether he prefers a pretty face or a big butt. Another video where he comments on the girl's size. And another video where he shows that he can be alone with students for a prolonged period of time.
Now, I didn't even see any of those other videos, so imagine that. He's tackling topics where they're already inappropriate when you're talking about dealing with a teacher-student relationship. So, you know, these are things that you have to keep in mind when you're talking about passing boundaries and that gray area. That gray area, if you feel like, you know, like being that there's so much unsurety across platforms, then you have to kind of think, if there's so much like wavering ideas of it, then that's a gray area and that's a problem.
And it feels like we're being led down a path of escalating inappropriateness and desensitization. It feels like young people are being taught to accept standards in an adult-child relationship that will put them at risk in the future. It feels like professional negligence or grooming. I can't tell which, but it doesn't matter. It's unacceptable. We're asking the wrong.
So, I mean, as you saw, I agree with this person, that person wholeheartedly. I'm sorry if you disagree with me, but that's where my stance is. Now, you know, if you have a child or not, you will understand. I would not want my children in a teacher's hair doing anything like that. And when I know what I'm sending them to school for, you know, I may be looking at it kind of in a weird way, but knowing the realities of this world, those are things that we have to consider. So real quick, this is something that we do at the end of our videos. Mindful moment. So this is a time where I pose a question, then you can answer it in the comments below. Please share whatever you have to share. I am open for discussion. I'm open to see different viewpoints. If you have something that you want away with, that you want me to look at it, let me know. But the mindful moment question for today is, after the information gathered today in this video, do you think the teacher's firing was overboard or was it overreacting? Let me know. Do you think the teacher's firing was overboard or overreacting? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to comment. All right, and subscribe. Thank you. I always forget to subscribe. Please subscribe. I would love to hear from you, and we create a whole mindful society. All right. So thank you for coming and spending this time with me. I will see you in the next.